Hi, I'm Brandon Shaw, co-CEO of Down to Earth Productions and Comedy LLC, and this is Something to Think About Part 2. Now I'm going to be talking about the biblical story about David under these three categories right here: information, titles, and reflection. Now in the Bible, Samuel 1, chapter 17 through 19, that's an introduction to David. Now, I'm going to break down all three of these things like once before, like I said before. And it all started when King Saul displeased God. Now, God is abstract. And another way of saying God is infinite intelligence. So we need to get tuned with our intelligence. King Saul fell out of that intelligence. So Samuel, with using his intelligence, went to go find another king. And so when Samuel went to go find another king, he seen Jesse. Now that's David's father. And when he first came there, he thought that the next king was going to be David's brother because he looked at his appearance and how strong he was. But God told Samuel, no, that's not who the king is. I'm not like human beings. I don't look at the appearance or the height of a person. So think about that. Now, a lot of people who have faith in God, who claim to follow God, you should know that by looking at someone's appearance, you can be manipulated, you can always be misled, misinformation. Don't judge a book by its cover. God looks at the actions, the intentions of a person, the heart. When you're using your intelligence, same thing. God is infinite intelligence, people. By using your intelligence, you're not going to be concerned with the words someone says if they're not acting off of it. So Samuel goes on, and then he finds David. Then he knew right then and there that David was going to be the next king. Now David was a shepherd. He protects sheep, he protects the flock from bears and lions. And so now David goes to see King Saul. King Saul is very pleased with David. But now, Saul and the Israelites, they have a common foe. They have an enemy. And that enemy was Goliath. Now, once again, Goliath, he was a Philistine. And Goliath was pretty much just destroying the Israelites in all types of war. You know, he was always beating them down constantly. But David sat back and he's observing this. You know, he's hearing the stories about how David is 8 feet tall. How Goliath is 8 feet tall. He's this strong and this and that. And so David told Saul, he was like, let me fight David. Let me fight Goliath. Let me fight Goliath. This is what David told King Saul at the time. Now King Saul was thinking like, okay, he's run out of options. So what King Saul did was he gave David his armor, gave him his sword, he gave him his shield. David put it on. Now when David started to walk with it, he's not used to doing that. Now I want you guys to think about what a sword and a shield is. A sword and a shield is physical. Something's physical meaning it's limited. Okay, keep that in mind when I go along with this story, especially for those who know the story about King David. And so now he tells Saul, I'm not used to this. This is not me. Now everybody who was fighting Goliath tried to fight Goliath with what? Using a sword and a shield. That represents the norm. See, a lot of people want to follow the norm. And once again, God's infinite intelligence. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's intelligence. Let me repeat that. Just because something is popular don't mean it's intelligent. There's a lot of human beings in today's reality that always following things because it's popular, but they don't sit here to analyze and think, is this even intelligent for me to do? What can I gain? What can I lose? Now let's go back to the story. So David was like, this sword and this shield doesn't work for me. David stayed in his own lane. So what David did was he went to the river, grabbed him 5 stones, got him a slingshot. He told Saul, this is all I need. So now, they're on the battlefield. Now, this is very important what I'm about to tell you. Now, Goliath, he has a shield and a sword. Limitation. But also, Goliath was overconfident. because of this information. Now, when he seen David, he noticed that David was a boy. Now, David sees Goliath. You notice that Goliath says something first. And this is how the battle was already lost for Goliath. Just by opening his mouth. Because he told David some information. See, a lot of us run our mouth, we talk too much. We give up too much information with people. And you wonder why people take this information and use it against you. We're going on to the story. So now, you see Goliath, he tells David, oh, you guys, you're Israelites, you seen David, you seen this little boy with a sword, with a slingshot, with a stick, I mean? Like I'm a dog, I'm supposed to fetch it? This is what Goliath tells David. Now David hears this. Now what you think what that lets David know? That lets David know that Goliath doesn't have knowledge on what a slingshot is. Information. The reason why Goliath lost that fight against David is because David had more information than Goliath had on David. What did Goliath know about David other than he was a boy? And that he was fighting with the Israelites. Nothing else. But David knew a lot of information on Goliath. He knew how he's fighting. He knew that he used a sword and a shield. Now, as Goliath is approaching David, David runs up. Now Goliath runs up. This is the last thing Goliath heard out of David's mouth. This is very key to understanding how information works. He told Goliath, you come to me with that sword and the shield, meaning physical. David said, I come to you with the faith of God, that intelligence to know the information. And once Goliath ran up, pow! Got hit with a stone right in his forehead. Fell to the ground. David walked to his body, took Goliath's sword, and cut his head off. Going to the New Testament, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Lacking information, people. When you lack information, it can really hurt out here. You know, a lot of people, you know, who are really negative, they like to spread rumors, like to gossip, and then because the person who's spreading these rumors and the person who's gossiping, they might be more popular than other people around. See, a lot of people don't want to feel lonely. See, they want to, like I said before, they don't want the social pressure. So they just go ahead and believe what someone tells them without knowing the information. And what ends up happening is they get the wrong information and now they look a certain way. And when people look a certain way, it bruises their egos. And that's what builds in the hate, the jealousy, the greed, the envy. So now, David wins. Everybody's happy, you know. Saul congratulates him. Now Saul, he invites these women to come over, you know, sing a song. And then what happens? All it took was one time. Remember, Saul loved David and David loved Saul. But one of the women said, Saul kills thousands. David kills 10,000s. In just that instant, when Saul heard that, jealousy entered the heart, into the mind, into the soul. There's a lot of people out here that's going to be jealous of you because of the success that they see. That's a sign of showing that you're doing the right thing. You're on that right path. A lot of people have insecurities. And because of those insecurities, they place them on you. So in their mind, they're thinking like, well, if Barry is doing that, but you know, I wouldn't be doing what Barry doing. How does he have the courage to do that? Because if I did that, I'll be perceived a certain way. Well, Barry doesn't care about social norms. Barry is going on what's on his mind. Just like the same thing with David. He's tuned with his God, the faith in God, the faith in that infinite intelligence. The opposite of being intelligent is being a fool. Now later on, the story with David, he eventually becomes king. Now, David made one major flaw. And those who know the story know what that was. See, David seen another man's wife, you know, over the balcony. And he's had lust. So he brought the woman over. Now, he ended up sleeping with this woman and got her pregnant. Now we're going to talk about reflection, people. So David used his title as a king. But like I said before, I'm going to get to explain the titles. He used his title as a king to lure in a woman. And that woman was submissive because of that. So now, David has committed adultery, one of 10 commandments. And he has his woman pregnant. And by law, back in those days, that's punishment by death. So what King David tried to do was trying to be manipulative. So he goes to this man's wife. He goes to this wife's husband. David goes to the husband. Tells the husband, hey, why don't you stop fighting the war? You know what I'm saying? Go spend time with your wife and things like that. The man doesn't go for it. He's like, no, David, I'm fighting for the Israelites, I'm fighting for our countrymen. So David's like, okay, fine. That didn't work. David's still being manipulative. Now David gets this man drunk because David knows he didn't sin. The man got drunk and David said, go home, sleep with your wife. But the man went home. The next day, he right back on the battlefield. So one of David's top lieutenants came. And David said, you know what? I want you to put Uriah. That's the guy's name. That's the husband of the wife that David had cheated on. I want you to put him on the front line. Put him in the most fiercest of battles. Make sure he's up front. So that's what ends up happening. Uriah gets killed. David had a man killed because of a sin he committed using his title. See, that title can mess with your head because people, it doesn't matter what title you are, whether you're a king or you're a mother, a father, a supervisor, a CEO, you are human first. These titles create egos. You get to believing that you're those titles, but you're human. See, when you go off a title, you will give a person a lot of times to be around your life who's really conniving. You give all these people all these chances around you that's not looking in your best interest because you placed a title on them. For example, because that's my son, I'm going to let it pass that he stole from me. But my son keeps stealing from me. Eventually, you're probably going to disown your son. Or you're probably just going to keep him around. Now, if that human being didn't have the title of son that someone stole for you, would you do the same thing? Think about that. Now go along with the story. Now David has his man killed because he has his man's wife pregnant. So now, God notices this. So now the woman gets sick. David, he's not being king no more. He's depressing. He's sad. He's praying every day, praying to God that God, please let this baby be born. Forgive me for my sins. This and that. Baby end up dying. The people are wondering how David's gonna handle this news. David hears them talking about this. So David comes out and says, "Oh, the baby died? Well, I did all I can do." David went in there, took him a bath, washed up, went back to being who he was, the king. Now that astonished a lot of people. That was like, well, David, when the baby was alive, you were sad. But now the baby dead, you're not. Why is that? David's still intelligent. He was like, I did everything I could do. Because David knew what he did was wrong. He held himself accountable. And he also knew the consequences because of that. That's why he wasn't able to build that temple that he wanted, that God told him to build. There's going to have to be built through his son Solomon. So now, he gets a message. I'm using reflection. Nathan comes to David. Nathan tells David a story. Now Nathan tells David, this is the reason why we don't use you messages. So he tells David, there was a rich man and there was a poor man. The poor man had one sheep. The rich man had all type of cattle, had all livestock. The rich man decided to throw a party with his other rich friends. Instead of sacrificing his own livestock, that rich man took the poor man's sheep and sacrificed it. Now he told David, what you think's gonna happen to that man? know what David said? David said, oh, that man should be killed, punished by death. And then before he gets killed, he needs to pay that poor man all the livestock that he owes him. David was real furious. David not even knowing that he's talking about himself. And Nathan said, you know what, David? That rich man is you. Because you got that man's wife pregnant. Then you killed that man. You have many wives, David. Nathan used reflection. This is a very powerful tool to use when you want to know how to read people's behavior. For example, let's say that someone's spreading rumors about you. You know, they're gossiping, they're jealous of you. You have done nothing to this person. Now, use reflection. Ask yourself, if I was in Joe's shoes, why would I be gossiping, spreading rumors about Brandon if Brandon hasn't done nothing to me? Why would you do that? You will always get your answer because we are related. Human behavior has always been the same. It's reflective thinking. It's how successful people win. Warren Buffett wrote a book on how successful people think. And one of those thinking methods was reflective thinking. You have to sit back and reflect in life. Because we're all related. When you look into my eyes, what do you see? You will see a reflection of your face. And because of that reflection you see in your reflection that you see, I see your face and vice versa. I'm looking at this camera right now, so I'm pretending like I'm looking at someone's eyes. If I was looking at someone's eyes, I would see my reflection. And because I see my reflection, that individual is seeing my face. Because right now, I cannot see my face. That's how we're related. And once again, think about it. Information, titles, and reflection. You don't want to be misinformed out here. People are misinformed because they lack critical thinking skills. They're not analyzing. Going back to what I said earlier, when Samuel was going to find another king because Saul had failed, but God told him what to do. Remember, Samuel picked the wrong person at first. He picked David's brother. God don't look at physical appearance. He's looking at intentions. Actions speak louder than words. Analyze before you act. Think, then act. But once again, we go back to the subconscious habit. You make it a habit to keep repeating those same things where you're not analyzing enough. You analyze for 1 second and bam, you already acting. Control where your energy is going. Energy and motion. That's your emotions. Titles. Titles will deceive you. You tend to forget that people are human beings. You know, nowadays, celebrities got all type of titles. People are starstruck over celebrities. A celebrity is a human being. They bleed like you. They need sunlight like you. They need nutrients like you. Reflection. If you want to know why things ain't going your way, reflect. In this type of world, people are going to be very manipulative. And when you're on that right path, when you're focusing on yourself, other people they're watching that. And other people might not want to focus on themselves because their insecurity is too strong. So it builds up jealousy, hatred. So to be able to safeguard that, you have to use reflection to see why is this person acting like this. Like Jesus Christ did nothing to anybody. All Jesus Christ did was perform miracles. It was giving advice that helped the individual if they take it to uplift. Christ going around saying, look, you don't have to be a prostitute. You don't have to be a soldier fighting that war if you don't want to. The choice is yours. But see, a lot of people profit off the negativity. They want to keep you closed-minded because you cannot profit off nobody if they're thinking critical. You have to get them not to think critical. Get them to discard their better judgment. That's when people make mistakes. So once again, think about it. Information, titles, and reflection. Gave you an example by using David in the biblical story. The sword and the shield is physical, limited. Your faith in God, your intelligence is unlimited. We as human beings, we have the ability to create mental images. Call that imagination. Use your imagination. That's the blueprint. Then you manifest into physical reality. If you go online, go to YouTube, go to Down to Earth Productions YouTube channel, subscribe, and you can see the lectures that I gave on how to master law of attraction to lucid dreaming. I get in real depth about these things that I'm talking about, especially manifestation. It's real important to know what type of reality you live in. That's why I named my company Down to Earth, because people in these titles, they're in their mind. But you're not the mental image in the physical reality. And people believe that they are the mental image that they create in their minds. See, in their minds they think like, I'm a big boss. But in physical reality, they're an employee. So that's all for today, people. Something to think about. Information, titles, and reflection. Peace.